Heidi-ho neighbors, Rado Goji here, and welcome to Squeeze the World Toys. And today, we've got a review that's basically been a couple weeks in the making because Amazon doesn't know how pre-order stock works. Today, we're finally going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations Prime Wars Trilogy, or technically Power of the Primes, limited edition Deluxe Class Punch Counterpunch. Now, for those of you who aren't in the know, it might be saying, well, what do you mean by punch counterpunch? That's kind of a weird name for a Transformer. Well, basically the way it works out is that we know about triple changers. We've seen a triple changer early on. The very first video toy review that I ever did was of Astro Train, a triple changer. Triple changers are known for having a robot mode and two alt modes, meaning they can turn into two different vehicles. Punch/Counterpunch is kind of an inverse of that, being a Transformer with one alt mode, in this case a groovy-looking car, and two robot modes. Basically, in universe, Punch is an Autobot double agent who uses the alternate robot form and persona of Counterpunch to infiltrate the Decepticon ranks, although it does make him super paranoid, and the Counterpunch persona is becoming more and more of his own thing, and there's a whole big thing. I think it was touched more in the IDW comics. All I've seen him in, as far as media is concerned, is Season 4 of the Transformers G1 cartoon, which was just a three-parter that was promptly canceled, or at least was just supposed to be like it was supposed to be a five-parter, and that was it, but then they had to knock it down to three parts anyway. It's very, very confusing. Anyway, the car mode looks super, super sweet. I really like this, well, just frankly awesome-looking car mode. It's very sleek, very top-notch stuff. Can't really think of any other words to describe it. I think it's supposed to be kind of like a supercar. I don't remember exactly which one. Like a Chevy Impala? Was that it? No? I don't remember. Anyway, it's a nice dark blue here with some red hubcaps. Kind of a weird combination of things there. Now, before we get to the combination, I do want to talk about something that Power of the Primes has. Now, considering that we haven't talked about Power of the Primes Deluxe or Voyager classes as of yet, I haven't really gone into too much in-depth detail about what Prime Armor is. I may have glossed over it, some of the 10 shots, 10 bots things, but we really haven't, taken a good look at what Prime Armor is. So, it's kind of this weird-looking lump or something. There's a peg on there that can be adjusted. The figures can hold these. And they have a myriad things that they can do with robot modes. But they usually also have the ability to hook onto alt modes as well, just to kind of beef them up. Like, for example, there's a hole on top of the car here, and if you put the Prime Armor into that hole via the peg, it gives them a neat little booster on there. I think that does kind of, I don't know if it looks better, but it doesn't look bad. I can kind of dig that. And since this is one of those limited edition figures, he also comes with a Prime Master. In this case, Prima Prime. Yep, that's what he's called. Basically, Prima is the kind of like the antithesis of like Liege Maximo or Megatronus / the Fallen, where he's the stereotypical warrior of goodness and justice and such. He's basically, I don't know if he's like the same mold as Solus Prime, the one that we saw with Repugnus, but he definitely has the same sort of design scheme going on. He's made out of transparent blue plastic and covered in flat gray or silver paint. I think it's more of a silver in this case, but here's his emblem mode. So there you go, that's Prima Prime. Unfortunately, with the Deluxe Class on Power of the Primes, I think this is the same thing across the board, but unfortunately there's no way to put Prima in here. There's no like driver's seat for him. So unlike Titan to Turn, where all of the vehicle modes could house Titan Masters in them, or Prime Masters as the case were, because they're pretty much universal, you cannot put, at the very least, can't put Prima into Punch, which kind of sucks. But I'm going to put him off to the side real quick. Just over here. Just so he's kind of out of the way. And we can get to the transformation of the figure itself. So first off, we're going to take the gun out from underneath here. Just get that out of the way. There we go. Now, the first step is, in my opinion, one of the hardest, because basically from here back are all... There's like 2 big panels that will fold out to either side. And I kind of got to like loosen up where certain places are, because this is actually this fits together very, very well. So well, in fact, that it is kind of hard to get back apart sometimes. So just kind of have to, loosen the tabs where the windshield is. That's where that hooks in. I may jump cut this part because sometimes it can take me a few minutes to get the panels off. So 2 seconds here. Actually, I think I've got it. Oh, actually, that didn't take long at all. I will not jump cut that. So the 2 panels will fold out like that. And as you can see, you even got like other windows in there just to kind of keep the aesthetic going for the actual figure. These panels are going to swing down and back. And these are going to form legs, so you can actually separate these if you want to. Well, I mean, you got to separate them at some point anyway. But you can just separate them now if you want to, kind of get them situated there. So on each of these panels, we're going to start by folding in the windshield part, folding up the car door, and then folding up the back panel to make a leg. And we're just going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to unhook the obvious arms from the sides here. And then the hood section is actually going to split into 3 parts. The outer 2 parts are going to make the shoulders, and then this central part is actually going to fold up into this part that comes down, like this. So we're just going to fold that up, and then just close that back up there. And then the shoulders, these arms are going to come down as well. And then the shoulders are going to come back. If I can get the pegs and hinges and whatnot to engage the way we need them to. These are very, very tight joints on these car parts here. So these are going to come back and swing down and up. And there's also a tab and a hole that you can clip these into. Sometimes they don't like to clip in very well, and that's fine. If it doesn't clip in perfectly, I'm not going to worry about it, but yeah, if it doesn't want to go in, then yeah, it doesn't want to go in. I'll just use it as a guide then, just keep it like that. Let's do the other. The unfortunate side effect is that sometimes they do have a tendency to flop around, but luckily the joints in this are, like I said, they're fairly tight enough so that they're not going to go too all over the place. And then on the head, there's a double hinge sort of helmet thing. Just want to make sure this is up like this. And this is Punch. Super Spy Guy. Yeah. Punch is pretty cool looking. I like how he starts off as his alt mode is a blue car, but he turns into a yellow robot. I mean, he still has like the blue legs, but blue arms. But he's got like yellow parts as well, and he's also got red hands to go with the red hubcaps. He can also hold his gun here for maximum gun having. He does have some decent articulation as well. Pretty much, again, the kind of articulation that you'd expect. Also, with the way the dual robot modes work, do be aware that these knees and elbows do go both ways. But yeah, the ball joint in the head and everything. So, all in all, decent, good Deluxe Class figure. Now, let's bring out that Prime Armor again, shall we? So the Prime Armor itself, it can be held in his other hand, like this. And it's kind of like a sort of shield thing. But most Deluxe Classes can also basically equip it on their chest. There's usually like a hole or a panel with a hole underneath that you can plug the Prime Armor into. And in this case, it's underneath his Autobot badge right there. So it's kind of going for a Power Masters sort of thing. except without any kind of awesome things that pop out. Now with that plugged in his chest, you can actually take this clear part out. That just slides out there. And that can also make an alternate, or like a second gun for him. So now he has 2 guns. And then you can take your Prime Master, put it into his little emblem mode, and then this will just fit in to the Prime Armor. So now Punch is equipped with the eponymous Power of the Primes, or at least this one Prime. So this will give him like a power-up of some description. I know that there's like a whole big lore spreadsheet about like exactly what powers each Prime gives each character, but I'm not going to go into that because I really don't care all that much. All I know is that Punch now has a super power-up thanks to Prima here. Let's go ahead and take that back out, shall we? Now, the exciting part is changing Punch into the other robot mode, aka Counterpunch. So, one of the first things would be to flip this Autobot symbol down anyway, because we got to keep it hidden from when he's in his Decepticon mode. Kind of like how his Decepticon badge is hidden when in his Autobot mode, but I'll get to that in a bit. Probably the most elaborate part of the transformation, let's just bring him over to the other side here. The most elaborate part of this transformation is going to be in the shoulders. So we're going to take the car section like this, kind of swing it out on this arm here, and then bring it down there, like this. Make sure it's kind of lined up like that. And then my hand's in the way for a lot of these things, but basically you want to line it up like that. Same thing with the other side, obviously. Then just like, if you need to, just kind of reorient the knees so that they're facing this way now. Same thing with the elbows. The hands will actually swivel out to form new blue Counterpunch hands. Fold up the little panel to reveal the Decepticon badge, and then, again, the two-sided helmet thing, flip that up to reveal Counterpunch's face. So this is Counterpunch, the Decepticon side, and he looks pretty rad too. He's more in line with the car mode, being all blue and stuff like this. He can also hold the gun. One of the disappointing things I found, actually, the original G1 toy apparently had the yellow gun for Punch, and then like another like blue gun, I think, for Counterpunch. But this is the only gun we get with this set. That's okay though. But just kind of give him a little bit more personality, I suppose. But all the articulation is the same. He just looks kind of different. But same sort of body build and everything. And he can also equip the Prime Armor as well. The thing with this, at least on mine, is that the way that the hole is on the chest for Counterpunch, first off, he's not holding the clear gun very well. Will that go in there? Yeah, there it goes. Sorta. He's holding on to it, but it's like that. But the hole here does not like to accept the Prime Armor unless you really kind of force it. Alright, sorry for the jump cut there. I kind of had to take him off camera in order to get at that. But he can also equip the Prime Armor. And also, if we just take this out and just kind of have the regular Prime Armor blank mode or whatever, it can also make a nice looking jetpack for him. So now he has a jetpack. That's kind of a cool thing. That's a cool way to do that. That wasn't in the instructions or anything. It's just a nice little coincidence that it has like boosters on its back to make that kind of thing. But that is the Power of the Primes Punch, Counterpunch, and consensus is I really like this figure. I'm so glad that I was able to get him. It just took me forever because I pre-ordered this back in July, the same time I pre-ordered Repugnance, actually. And while the figure did come out a couple of weeks ago, I didn't get mine until this past week because they ran out of stock. Because same thing with Repugnance, actually. The same thing happened with Repugnance. Amazon does not like to fulfill their pre-orders all at once when the thing is supposed to come out, and that kind of sucks, and Amazon needs to rethink their strategies with that. But I did eventually get this, so that's great. I definitely recommend picking him up. I don't know what prices he's going for now. He was $25 when I picked him up. That's the basic retail, but his price more than likely has gone up by this point, probably skyrocketed, because he's such a wanted figure. I mean, you don't really get many Counterpunch figures. This is the first one they've made in quite a while that wasn't just, like, there was a Combiner Wars one, but it was just Counterpunch. And even then it was a limited, like convention exclusive or something like that. In fact, the Counterpunch that was out there that did do the dual transformation was also a exclusive to a club exclusive or something like that. And before that was just the G1 figure. Now, one side note I do want to point out, and this has probably been pointed out on many reviews for this figure. I just want to do my part in spreading the PSA. I did have to do some modifications to the figure. The general consensus seems to be that most of the figures that were sent out were misassembled on the shoulder bits. So I had to use a screwdriver to pry this open. I found a tutorial video for this online. Just pry this open, take out the this little ball joint bit, and then like flip it around and put it back in, because otherwise he doesn't come together quite well enough to do the transformation, which does kind of suck. But anyway, that's just, again, the PSA out of the way. So yeah, really glad I picked this guy up. Pick him up if you can find him at a good price. And I've been Radio Goji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?